Rainbows for All Children has a vast network and community of passionate individuals who herald our mission to provide free peer support groups to youth around the world. We got the opportunity to sit and chat with some of them through a series of interviews. Welcome to the Rainbows Chats. After the storm, we shine.
I'm Stephanie Garrity. I'm the Executive Director at Rainbows for All Children. Been here for 8 years. I met Susie, probably close to 15 years ago now. We happened to both be in an event. I was working for another agency that supported children who were grieving the loss of a parent or a sibling due to death. And we were both at a fundraising dinner and ended up just randomly being seated next to each other. And so we just got chit-chatting, and I'm tall, so Susie was a little bitty to me, but she was this huge, enormous bundle of energy and passion for this work. And I was like, oh, I want to be her when I grow up. So we spent the whole night chatting away about the different issues that face kids who are struggling with grief, loss, and uncertainty, and how as adults it's our responsibility to make sure that they're supported, whether it's our own child, whether it's a child in our neighborhood, a child in our school, however that happens. I think it's the culture that we've all built together of acceptance. And so from our board, through our staff, through our volunteers, just building that piece of community and connection has been amazing. And I've been really proud and honored to be a part of it. I get goosebumps when I think about it, because I think back to the pandemic, and if there was ever a time where youth mental health, human mental health was ever really showcased the pieces that are missing, where we're really short on support services, it was the pandemic. And here we are this many years out, still don't have enough resources. There aren't enough counselors available. There aren't enough social workers. There aren't enough peer support group resources in communities for everyone who needs them, whether they're children or adults. And so I think it gave us a great platform to talk about what we do. It's frustrating to me that after all these years, we're still having to have these conversations. I mean, when you have little kids who are first going back to school post-pandemic, they've never been in a classroom or school before, and they're having bathroom accidents because they're afraid of self-flushing toilets, we are missing something. When we have children who go out to recess following a shooting incident in their community, and the kids start running by them and they drop to the ground crying and screaming for help because people running is scary to them, we are missing an opportunity. And those are, some big things. What about, the children who have lost a family member to domestic violence and, may or may not have been there to witness it, and they don't have support in their school or their community? Divorce has been on the rise post-pandemic. So what about all of those children? We make the mistake of thinking, oh, loads of people get divorced. Their kids are fine. My kids will be fine. Your kids will be fine if they have the resources and the outlet to help them understand their feelings more and understand that their peers are having similar feelings and that they're not alone. In terms of relevance, I think we still have one of the most relevant messages. Just like a child cannot go to school and learn when they are hungry, they cannot learn actively when they're living in a place of uncertainty and fear. There's loads of things that have bubbled up in my 8 years here. Children who are living not just with the deportation of a family member, but the fear of the deportation of a family member. And that's traumatic. I think, the pandemic, obviously, all the things that went with that, or, we've got wars going on two fronts, essentially. We've had a lot of political change and upheaval. We talked to a county a couple weeks ago who 150,000 adult members of their county are government employees. And now those children are all living in a place of uncertainty because they know who their parents work for and they see all the things on social media. The need just continues to grow. And unfortunately, globally, I think there have just been so many traumatic moments that I don't know very many adults who are coping terribly well. And then you give those moments to children and teens who don't get to vote. They don't get a say in where they live or how they pay bills, or whether they decide to stay in Ukraine or move to the United States or somewhere else. So they're essentially they have no power in this conversation, and that also adds to their sense of unease and uncertainty. So I just think, globally, we need to be doing better for each other. I think more people are aware of how mental health issues can be helped and some of the things that contribute. I think the awareness piece is still critical. It's very easy to think, well, yeah, I had a bad day, but I'm fine. Everybody gets upset sometimes. And that's true. But I think a lot of people, children in particular, are functioning in a place of anxiety a lot of the time. And so, you start to see that in behavioral issues and isolation and choosing to control their eating, hoarding food, acting out, starting fight. It's great on the one hand that we're able to talk about these things a little more openly than we did before. But there's still a lot of room to have those really open conversations about what does this mean for a child or a teen? What does this mean for their parents? What does it mean for them as a family? What does it mean for them as a community? What does it mean for them on a national and international level? So I think, continuing to have those conversations is critical. And until we are, as transparent as we can be and have as many resources available as we can possibly have, I think we owe it to the children and teens of our global community, because these are the folks who are going to be leading us in the next 10, 15, 20 years. And we want to make sure they have all of the tools to make them successful, so that as they go forward and they succeed, so do the rest of us. But I think the two things that I hear most from Rainbows alums when I talk to them is that Rainbows was the first time that they realized what happened in their family wasn't their fault. But the single thing that I hear the most often, and I really do think it is the most powerful piece of what we do, is that Rainbows was the first time I realized I wasn't the only one. We are social beings. We are typically meant to be in groups of people, and to have something that feels so isolating that you can't talk about it, you don't want anybody to know about it at school, you don't want to tell your friends, you don't want to be different. So that piece of, it was the first time I realized that I wasn't the only one, is so incredibly powerful. And I think it is the biggest gift that Rainbows gives kids. I think it was so brilliant of Susie to recognize that so many years ago, that isolation in these instances is not good for kids. Bringing them together, giving them a community of support that carries on well past their 12 to 14 week Rainbows group is sincerely, I think, the biggest positive of what we do.
Thanks for watching this installment of the Rainbows Chats. Follow us on social media and join our mission of creating communities of young people who are facing loss and uncertainty, so that no one has to grieve alone. Together, we can create a world where after the storm, we shine.